The Galaxy S21 Ultra was originally released in January of 2021 and it has been out for nearly a year and a half. And I just bought one in 2022.
Are you serious? I'm dead serious.
So the S21 Ultra served as a follow-up to the, let's call it decent S20 Ultra from the previous year. While it wasn't a bad phone, its design left a little to be desired and there were reported software and camera issues that kind of hurt its reception. But if the S20 Ultra was Samsung's first attempt at an Ultra phone, the S21 Ultra saw Samsung really perfect the new model. It's a big phone, with a 6.8-inch AMOLED screen, with a refresh rate that can vary between 10 and 120 frames per second, depending on the content you're viewing. It has a Quad HD resolution, and viewing content on here is just excellent. Whether it's gaming or YouTube or whatever you watch, colors pop, and the variable refresh rate makes for smooth scrolling and a really enjoyable experience overall. Okay, real quick, let's run through some of the other specs. It's powered by a Snapdragon 888 or an Exynos 2100 depending on your region. It has 12 or 16 gigabytes of RAM, a 5000 mAh battery, an in-screen ultrasonic fingerprint reader, S Pen support, wireless charging, and storage options of 128 up to 512 gigabytes. Now those are just some of the main highlights and we'll cover the cameras in a little bit, but first back to the design. The back glass has a really nice matte finish and I love how the camera bump blends into the side rails. I don't love the curved front screen on the sides, but Samsung has been holding on to this design forever now. Now I'm actually not a huge fan of big phones and prefer one-handed usability, but the S21 Ultra isn't too bad in that department due to its more narrow frame, and it's still pretty pocketable. Oh, they also offer it in silver, but the matte black looks way better in my opinion. Okay, let's talk about the cameras. On the back you've got 4 cameras that offer a ton of flexibility and shooting options. There's a 108 megapixel wide camera, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and 2 telephoto lenses that offer 3 and 10 times optical zooms. Honestly, I'm not big on photography, but these cameras were really impressive, but the 3 and 10 by optical zoom lenses really standing out. The optical zoom produces much clearer, steadier photos when you compare it to the typical digital zoom offered in other phones. And beyond that, this phone also offers additional 30 and 100 times digital zoom. The 30 times zoom worked pretty well for the most part, though it added some noticeable grain, and the 100 times zoom really works more like a party trick than anything, with the photos you get not being something you would want to frame. On the video side, you can record at up to 8K 30 frames per second, and all 4 of the cameras can record 4K at up to 60 frames per second. Video looks really good, notably beating out my Google Pixel 6, though I'd say it's still a little behind my iPhone in terms of overall quality. But for an Android, it doesn't get much better. The front selfie shooter is a 40 megapixel that can record in 4K at up to 60 frames per second as well. I went into this review knowing that the cameras would be good, but I was really surprised at the versatility that this combination gives you. Is it overkill? Yeah, probably, but I'm not complaining. Performance was, as you probably expect, really good. The Snapdragon 888 isn't the top of the line chip anymore, but we're at the point where you're not going to see huge drop-offs in performance year to year as new chips are introduced. Apps open quickly and you can really fly through anything you'd want to do with this phone, with the 12 gigabytes of RAM really helping out and keeping multiple apps open with no slowdown. As always, Samsung offers loads of customization if you really want to dive into the menu and tweak things. I don't have the Exynos version to test out here, but from what I've read, performance seems to be similar to years prior, with the Snapdragon version edging out the Exynos only slightly. Either way, I don't think there's much you could throw at this phone that it couldn't handle. Now let's talk about the battery. As I said earlier, it's packing a 5000 mAh battery, which was enough to get me through a full day's use. Now you can knock this down pretty fast, setting the resolution to Quad HD and playing games, but I mostly kept mine at Full HD resolution. It's hard to tell much of a difference between the Quad HD and Full HD in day-to-day use anyway. The variable refresh rate on the screen helps battery life by dropping down when you're, say, reading an article online, and I kept that setting to 120 Hz. Now unfortunately, Samsung does not include a charger in the box. It's not a huge deal, but it's kind of annoying. You get a USB-C to C cable, and wired charging tops out at 25 watts. While I'd love if that was a bit faster, going from 0 to 100 took about an hour and 15 minutes, so it's not too bad. You can wirelessly charge at up to 15 watts, and that took over 2 hours from 0. You can also reverse wireless charge other items like a watch or some wireless headphones, and while it will really kill your battery quickly, I like having the option available if you need it in a pinch. So let's sum it up. Being almost a year and a half old, I really wasn't expecting much, but this phone holds up to date and then some. It's been upgraded to Android 12 and performance feels like it hasn't missed a beat. Although it launched for $11.99 last year and Samsung no longer sells it as new on their website, you can still pick it up used and in really good condition for around $700. Samsung also has a refurbished section on their website and they are selling it for around $1,000, which is a little high for a year-old phone, but you can trade in other phones to get the price down if you want to go that route. I will say this, I bought this twice from Samsung's refurbished website and both times they sent me the wrong storage option, so buy with caution. Now, being over a year old, Samsung has also released its successor in the Galaxy S22 Ultra, which I reviewed a little while ago. But honestly, for my money, I like the S21 Ultra better. Its design is cleaner, and the upgrades don't really jump out to me as must-haves. The S21 Ultra just feels like Samsung really nailed the right combination of design and features, and it might still be worth checking out. You still rocking yours? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's about it for today. As always, I really appreciate you watching, and if you liked it, maybe consider subscribing. Until next time.